Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests are from an upcoming premiere production of a play called Coop. We have the author of the play, Mary Swander. Mary, welcome back.
Hi there, thank you.
Nice to see you.
Good
and
to see you.
The sole cast member. The soul, the soul breathing cast member.
Breathing, exactly. Yeah.
Which we'll explain in a minute. Rip Russsell. Rip, nice to see you.
Good to be here back again, Dennis. Thank you.
So this is so there are a few performances, and we'll talk about them as we go. But you're doing 2 local shows, and then you're off to Ireland.
That's right. We're hitting the sea.
So
instead of the road.
When you tour a show, you really tour a show.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Mary, I said that Rip was the breathing member of the cast because this is part play, it's part puppet show, but the puppetry that Rip will do is not with conventional like marionettes or anything that we would be thinking about.
That's right. This is called object theater.
Okay.
And when I found the hole in my schedule to write this play, I called my friend Monica Leo, who's a well-known puppeteer. So I should have known what I was going to get into. Yeah. And I said, I want to write this show, but I'm having trouble because I want to have Rip in it because he's so good. He's such a good actor. But it's the story about an Amish draftee in World War II who was a conscientious objector, and he ended up getting interned in a chicken coop. And I said, but the Amish man is only 21 years old, and Rip's like getting ready to retire.
Yeah, we won't go there, but yeah.
I said, so I don't know how this is going to work. And Monica goes, well, it worked just fine if the Amish guy was a puppet. And I'm like,
which is the solution you would expect from the great Monica Leo.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're right. That frees up a lot of things. And she says, Rip has done puppets before. He can be the puppeteer. And I'm like, okay. And I said, but you know what? You're just a brilliant, visual artist. I can't draw a line. I can't do any of that. I'm a writer. And she said, you don't have to be crafty to do this. I said, come on, you spend hours making all those gorgeous puppets. And she said, there's object theater, Mary. And I was like, ding, object theater. And that's where you just use everyday objects to be the puppets, represent the puppets, the characters. And I said, oh, well, what should I use? And she said, well, I don't know, just look around your house and see what you have multiples of. And she said, the last object theater I saw, the characters were a ketchup and mustard bottle. And I was like, okay. Uh-huh. So I went down in my basement. I had this whole stack of traffic cones. And people go, traffic cones? What are you doing with those? And the Secondary Road Department had come out and cleaned out my culvert this summer. And then they drove away and left all the cones in the middle of the road. So I went out, gathered them up, and thought I'd take them back to the department, which I never did. And I got them out and put them on my kitchen table. I'm like, oh. And then the other thing I have a lot of, I live on a gravel road, so I have dusters, a lot of dusters. And the Amish store has a whole shelf of dusters for like $3 in all different colors. So I got out all these dusters, and I put the dusters in the cone, and then I had a little Amish hat, and I put the hat on the duster, and I had me a puppet. So there's a traffic cone duster theme to the show, but we also use balloons and mixing bowls and what else? Toy airplane.
Toy airplanes, and
dagger.
Yep, a dagger and things like that. Just things that you find around the house. A dustpan, a sieve, anything that's
plumber's
in your kitchen.
friend.
Yeah.
So Mary comes to you and says, "I want you to do this play."
Yeah.
But you're going to be doing puppets, which, as we said, you did. You did in the last play. that you did of
Yes.
Mary's was
Right.
also
Right. We did. We
with
did some
puppets.
puppet work with Squatters on Red Earth. Yes.
So you're thinking, okay, puppets, I can do puppets, and then she says, "Here's a traffic cone with a duster."
Yeah. Well, when I walked into the studio and I saw all these traffic cones, I'm like, okay, how does this work? And then she showed me. I mean, we have little outfits that go on the cones,
of course,
with the dusters and, like I say, little
think of a
hats
little
and
cone
accessories. But when she first brought this to me, and we've worked on a number of plays recently and way back as late as the 80s. I was wondering how we're going to put this all together with the puppets and narration and songs. We have beautiful songs. And we came up with the idea, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we put we kind of call this pantomime object theater in a way. So why don't we put the soundtrack, if you will, on a tape. It runs about 55 minutes, an hour or so. And then I'll just act out the lines with the puppets, and the music. And all the movements, there's a lot of movements in this piece around the table, in and out and stuff. So I said, why don't we do that? Because it'd be a little overwhelming for one person to do all of that.
And deliver the lines.
And deliver lines and things like that. So we've worked it out
You can't kid me, Rip. I just know this is your way of getting out of memorizing.
Well,
all
I know.
lines.
Well, I've done Mary's plays before, and they're wonderful, but they're a mouthful. Let me tell you.
A lot of lines.
So this is a way of but it's utilizing a different form of acting. I've never done it like this. I've done puppeteering when I was younger, and I have done farce theater where a lot of things are. So much of the action is silent, but yet the action takes the place of the story.
And then we have a Mennonite quartet we have Amish hymns that go through the show while there's action, and so I put together a Mennonite quartet who does the hymns. It's just beautiful, and so they're on the tape, and so they don't have to come in person. We're going to travel with this show a lot, and it would be crazy trying to get them to come with us every time.
So it's one person and one big oversized golf bag that we'll be traveling with, which everything fits into.
Putting all your co-stars in the golf bag.
We made sure this morning that everything fit. So
and then we weighed it with a little, like a little fish.
Oh yeah, because you're going overseas. You got to be under 50 pounds.
Yeah.
But but all of these ideas that we're talking about with pantomime and the music and things sort of underscore this really beautiful story that Mary has created, and it's all based in reality.
Yeah, it was based on a little oral history that I found one day at the Amish Community Country Store, and it was just mimeographed off and stapled together in those days when you did something like that, and. I stood there in the store and read the whole thing. I'm like, oh no, don't tell me this. And then the story haunted me. So I've actually been researching this for over 10 years. And there's like one academic book on what the Mennonites and Amish went through in the wars. And then all the rest of it is oral histories and self-published things. And I had to chase all those things down. And I kept reading these stories, and they got worse and worse. There were Mennonites who came from Russia. The Amish mostly came from Switzerland and Germany, and there were 4 or 5 separate locations that they came from, and they're all fleeing. They're all leaving because their lives were in danger, and then they get to the United States, and you're in the Army now. And they did not believe in. One of the big principles that unites Amish, Mennonite, all the Anabaptists, Hutterites, is the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill." And so they really, really cannot
serve in the military.
Serve in the military,
but a lot of them were willing to serve their country. I mean, they wanted to do that, so they were like, well, how can I serve but not kill, essentially?
Right.
And so the government took them across the country, some of them, and with the promise of doing a type of service for the country.
So a lot of them were smoke jumpers, fought for forest fires. They worked on other people's farms. They worked in hospitals, all sorts of different jobs like that. And some some of these people from what's called peace churches, were treated very well. It wasn't like across the board they were all tortured and killed, but others weren't, and so it's mixed in there.
And we did a little snippet of this last December at Hillcrest Academy, just a little bit before the whole thing was written, and about 15 minutes of the play with about 30 or 40 people, and you wouldn't believe how much it resonates with a lot of people. We had a really good talk back afterwards. A lot of people in the community said, you know what, that's interesting. My uncle or my cousin or my grandfather, this happened to them back in the 40s. You know, we have stories in our family about coming across and, you know.
And they came up to me and they said, you got to get in there, this that used to happen all the time, or that happened. And then I have a little studio storefront downtown Kelowna. They started walking through my door. They started bringing me other pamphlets, compilations that their churches had put together of oral histories. It was fascinating. I mean, I just like fictionalized big chunks of this stuff that went right into the play.
Well, I was just going to ask, is this then kind of a distillation of many of these stories?
Right. And, you know, the last one to come in was this lovely woman that she had. I'd also done a little slice of it for the Hillcrest. They have like a convocation. She went to that, and she said, "I got to tell you about my grandfather who was waterboarded at Camp Dodge near Des Moines." And I said, "Sit down." I said,
Sit down. You're sitting down right now.
I have a podcast too, so I have equipment. And I said, "Would you mind if I record this?" And she said, "This is what I'm here for." And so that story becomes really one of the core threads of the play. And, it's all from these people that I thank them, for this. And, they said, we never think about this. This is just something that we all know, and it's handed down to us, but we never think about it. Outsiders not knowing about it. And I'm like, wow.
I have a similar story in my family tree.
Really?
The legend has it that the first generation of immigrants from Germany were here during World War I and mutilated their hands so that they could not hold a gun and kill fellow Germans.
Right.
So yeah, it's amazing the stories that
Yep.
that we just you kind of hear, somebody tells you and you don't think about it, and then something like this comes to the it's like, well, yeah, I have a story like that too.
No,
Exactly.
and I really think it's the advantage of local history, because that kind of thing doesn't get in the history books either. And but somebody who knows somebody, or you've had a relative and that happened, and then you begin to see, oh, this was a pattern.
So whether you're necessarily of Amish or Mennonite or any of the Anabaptist descent, there's a pretty good chance you may have similar stories
Somewhere along
I
the
think
line.
some
in
of
your
the themes
family.
I think are pretty universal.
Yeah,
you
and
know, when it
even
comes to
if you
war.
didn't have somebody in the military that experienced that kind of thing, the overall theme is the courage of your convictions, what you believe in, and how you have to stand up for what you think is right. The rest of the world might not think it's right, but what you think is truly the right thing to do, and all the battles that you might go through with that. When I took it to Hillcrest Academy, we had the school divided into little discussion groups, and I said, I know you haven't been in the military, so think about something where you had the courage of your conviction. They came back with bullying, all sorts of things that you think, oh, right, that makes sense. And they just came out of sixth graders, out of the mouths of sixth graders. So,
The play is Coop, and it's going to be performed a couple of times locally in some different locations. So one of which, Rip, is your backyard.
Yeah. I don't have to go far for that one. That'll be nice. Yeah. That'll be on September 7th, Sunday at and everyone is invited. Bring a chair though, please, because we only have a limited number of chairs in the backyard.
you
And
give
that'll
the
be
address.
1107 Rochester Avenue in Iowa City. Or you can contact me if you need further information. But gather by about 6, and I think we'll probably do the play at 6:15-ish, 6:30, something like that. It's about an hour long. We want to get it done before dark. But then we'll be taking it to Hillcrest Academy the following Saturday, the 13th, down outside of Kelowna.
Right.
And that'll be at 7 p.m. for a for a showtime down there.
And then you
everyone is
are really,
invited.
and then you are really going on the road.
Yeah. Then we're taking it on the road.
What were the circumstances that led you to get to do this in Ireland?
Well, I have dual citizenship with Ireland, and so I go back and forth quite a bit. And I always try to do something when I'm there, give a lecture, or reading, or something. And then I thought, I could take the show. And then I thought, well, does this really fit in Ireland? And then I realized Ireland is full of old Quaker villages. And those were left over from soup kitchens during the famine. They grew out of that whole problem. And so I know this wonderful little village called Letterfrack, and it has a lot of arts attached to it and a beautiful, beautiful bookstore where they have events. So I called them up. I said, how would you like a
play?
Would you like a play? And they're like,
A play with traffic cones and feather dusters.
And I got the typical Irish response. Oh, well, come ahead, Mary. Come ahead. Which means we'll do it. Yeah. So they don't know what they're in for, but we're going, and we're going to do pop-up shows if anybody else is interested too in Ireland, and see what kind of momentum we can build there.
But we'll be there we're actually staying in Clifton, Ireland, which is the for the whole duration of the Clifton Arts Festival, which is as I understand, it's the longest running arts festival in Ireland, going back 50 or 60 years now. I think.
Yeah, it's really it's
so
a
the whole
wonderful.
It'll be just
festival.
an atmosphere of art, music, theater,
Visual
puppetry,
arts,
dance, literature, poetry.
Oh, yeah. And it runs for 2 weeks, so we get to enjoy that at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The play is called Coop, taking place in Rip Russell's backyard on the 7th, Hillcrest Academy on the 13th. Now, if people want more information,
My website, maryswander.com. It's maryswander.com. All lowercase, no spaces between the Mary Swander. And I've got information on the show, the production, all sorts of good stuff. And the shows we're doing here are free and open to the public. No tickets required. You don't need to call in advance notice. Just come and walk in. So hope to see everybody out there soon.
and all this time I've known you, I didn't know you had a podcast.
I do.
So
It's called
I assume that we can visit your website and we can get signed up for the podcast too.
Mary Swander's Buggy Land.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Oh, okay.
It's really
all about. Well, a
really
lot
fun.
of it is about life among the Amish.
Yeah. I live in the middle of the Old Order Amish, and so it's been a remarkable life down there. I got it's like living in a different country. It's completely different culture.
It's out of this world.
It's out of this world.
As is the title of one of her books. We were just talking about that with another friend of mine earlier this morning.
Yeah. So get on my podcast, Mary Swander's Buggy Land, and get on my website and come to the play.
All right, maryswander.com if you'd like more information. Well, it's always a delight to hear what your inventive mind has brought to us this time, and looking
Thank
forward to this. And thanks so much to both of you for being here.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:30, on demand at kcck.org/culture, or subscribe using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the KCCK Facebook and YouTube channels. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. The Culture Crawl theme is composed by Vivian Shanley. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.